Sure, Digimon is celebrating 25 years of animation and came out with this lovely video to show off many of the things that they have come out with over the years. But what if I told you that the list they gave in this video isn't even close to complete? Many of you may already know this, but I have recently stumbled across some Digimon officially animated features that I couldn't even believe existed. So let me introduce you to 5 different Digimon animation projects that are so obscure I bet at least one you don't know about. Let me know down in the comments below how well you thought you would do versus how well you actually did in this video. So let us start with an easy one at number 5. This is the easiest one that I think most people have heard of, and I honestly only included it on this list because I think 5 is a nice round number. Digimon Adventure 02, not Hurricane Touchdown, but The Revenge of Diaboromon. There is a second Digimon Adventure 02 movie. Now that it's come out and they've shown little bits and pieces of it in the most recent movie, well, at least an image on a TV, many more people probably have been made aware of this movie. It is all about the new 02 cast taking on Armageddonmon because Omnimon couldn't beat it, but Omnimon shouldn't have gotten out of the portal. But if you want to know more about this one, I have an entire video here about reviewing this one. So if you've watched my channel long enough, you got an automatic A and got this one right. So good on you for your good taste in liking and subscribing and being here this whole time. So that's, a pretty easy one. Come on, give me something harder. Okay. Let's go a little bit harder, but again, I think many of you who have been around long enough have at least heard of this. The Digimon Adventure 20th Anniversary Memorial Story Project. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this project, this came out around the same time as Last Evolution Kizuna during the 20th anniversary. This had to be kickstarted and was only released in Japan on DVDs that you can only watch on Japanese DVD players because they're region locked. So many of us have not seen them, except for maybe one, because if you go onto their official Digimon YouTube channel, you can watch 2 Sora, which is one of them, but there's an additional 4 of them. Now, I'm not counting these as separate entries on this list. There is 2 Sora, which is about how Sora is deciding that she's a strong, independent woman by doing exactly what her mother told her this whole time and abandoning her friends. And I really don't like what they've done with Sora's character in the last few bits. Hole in the Heart, which is an amazing heartfelt one about Agumon and Gabumon talking about how their partners are getting older and what will they do, they'll always be there. Oh, I love that one. That one is amazing. Medical Student Joe Kiddo is actually a bit more of a cutesy one about Gomamon trying to help out Joe to not be afraid of blood anymore to become a doctor, and it turns out he's already good enough at it. It's a cute one. The Desired Jawgrass Evolution is just completely silly nonsense, where mostly it's Biyomon and Palmon thinking to each other, like, what would there be? They want to be able to Jawgrass as they hear the O2 talking about it. So what could they be? They even have little get-ups that they put on. They get on each other's shoulders and run around. It's very silly. And the most bizarre of all of them is the Shibuya-ish Heroic Saga of Pumpkingatsu, which is about the Pumpkinmon and Gatsumon that are supposedly from Digimon Adventure, which you found by Otismon, send them back to the digital world, if you watch the dub. Even as kids, we didn't believe that. Did you? And they're all talking about all these amazing things we did, and Gabumon's demanding to get the tears back that Yamato shed for them, and it is so bizarre. It's fun, but don't think about it in any way. Alright, so now we get on to number 3 on our list. And now we're getting into things that I think are far more likely that you have not heard of. This next one comes from Digimon Savers, called Agumon, Gaomon, Lalamon, Bakuretsu, Jiaogai Last Battle. And I'm pretty sure a lot of that's very specific Japanese, so I probably butchered some of that. I am sorry. And this is another recap episode, which for those of you who have watched Savers, yes, there is already a recap episode that happens in season. Now this is another episode that happens supposedly after the entire season, where they recap all of their Digivolutions and a few of their major battles with Kurata, well, because that's where we got Burst Mode anyway, so they go through it, they talk about how really close that Gaomon and Thomas are. They make fun of Agumon's dumbness a lot. Lalamon's, just cute and kind of useless. They banter at each other a lot throughout it. So it's not just a recap episode. They do have to try to have some fun with it. And this is notable because this was the very first Digimon episode to be released only on DVD. It was never aired anywhere. And it's also the very first Digimon episode not to be dubbed in English. Now as we've moved further on, we've had more episodes that haven't been dubbed. But this was the first that is basically a feature-length episode that could have happened at the end of the season that was not dubbed. Alright, now we're getting to our top 2. You still feeling confident? Are you thinking you still got me on this? Alright. Well, let us move on to number 2 on our list. This goes back to Digimon Adventure. Well, obviously you've all seen Digimon Adventure. Oh, this must be like our war game or something. No, silly viewer. This is Digimon Adventure 3D, Digimon Grand Prix. What? I had absolutely no idea until just a few days ago. If you go and watch Carney X's video about Digimon, that is where I first learned about this. So shout out to Karn. He's knows. I try to pretend that I know a lot, but there are still some things he's got me beat on. And this is one of 2 Digimon-related CG shorts that were only released at the Toei Animation Festival, where seems to be, from as far as I can tell, because, well, this is Japanese exclusive stuff we're talking about now, appears to be, it was just presented at an anime expo, and that's the only place it was originally shown and presented to people. Of course, this one was also put into the popular Korean theme park Everland. This movie is featured as a 4D movie attraction and space tour, located on the European Adventure. So, for those of you who don't know 4D, it's you usually sit in weird chairs that'll like move about with the movies. You could have like gusts of wind in your face or water or something depending on what happens. And so this is a completely silly race with the original 8 Digimon, with the new ones from Digimon Adventure, and Demi-Devimon, going on a Grand Prix where they're riding missiles, cars, aerial spirals, giant syringes for Demi-Devimon. Just absolute nonsense going on the entire time. Them ramming into each other and kind of partially exploding. And I won't spoil it for you. It's really hard to find, but if you look in certain places, you might be able to find it. And just don't expect any, grand story that's going to, expand the Digimon universe or anything from it. But it is amusing enough that it is worth a watch. Alright, and number 1 on our list, because yes, I said that Digimon Grand Prix was one of 2 CG shorts that were created. There is another Digimon Savers 3D, The Digital World in Imminent Danger. Now this is slightly less bonkers than the one before, where it's our main 3 Digimon from Digimon Savers. They left out Falcomon from most of the recap episode, except for Burst Mode for Ravemon, and they seem to have forgotten that he exists here as well. So I don't know. This is not supposed to be canon, because they also run into Calamon, who pretty much has never appeared except for in Tamers, and I know all you out there are going to be like, oh, Rordrik, it's a multiverse. Sure, this is a silly enough short. I will condone your multiverse nonsense. Go right ahead if that's what you want. This is clearly not meant to be realistic. And it's all about Agumon getting them lost on this floating minecart, going through all sorts of weird things, going past a Zulongmon. Hello, Digimon Sovereign. How you doing? Okay. Cool. Just, happens to be there. No problem. And then they eventually go into some cave and go into what might be the dark area. Maybe. But it's an area where all this data is being absorbed. And Armageddonmon is there. Okay. Are we doing the multiverse too, where Tamers and Digimon Adventure are tied? And sure. Why not? And literally, Calamon digivolves Agumon and Galmon to their champion forms, not like their burst modes or anything, to their champion forms, and then somehow closes the black hole below Armageddon so that two champions can defeat Armageddon. Basically an Ultra. Okay, yeah, obviously. And Lalamon, she's there. She exists. So yeah, that's what those are in a nutshell. How did you do? Do you know of all of these? If you've been following me over on Twitter, I talked about them, so maybe you did get a tip-off. If you follow me and have been up to date on everything, good for you. You have been able to keep yourself informed on Digimon even as we're in a slight dip and trying to keep ourselves engaged with all the more Digimon content we can find. Keep scrounging. Let me know if you find anything else that you think people don't know about. And if you want to talk about it more, come join the Discord, where we can talk more about Digimon together. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to stay safe in these strange times, my friends. As always, everyone, remember to be awesome. Thank you, and goodbye.